Say what's cracking, YouTube? It's your boy 16 to life, and I'm back like I'm on a parole violation. Yard down. Now, for those of y'all that's new to my page, in 1994, I got arrested. I was eventually sentenced to 16 years plus life, and I served 24 years straight in the California prison system. During those times, I accumulated some good stories and some insight on things related to prison. I'm going to share it with y'all today. If you happen to like the video, hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe. Also, hit that notification bell. That way, anytime I drop a story, you will be notified ASAP, and you can hop on it whenever you're ready. Also, I rap, man. The flow is nothing like Curtis Blow. Check me out, man. Be sure to go to my YouTube playlist. Scroll down to gas stations. You will find a lot of my music there. I guarantee I gas, and you're going to be impressed, man. Let's hop right up into this story. Now, I get asked this question a lot. People want to know, do blacks who are not affiliated with gangs in the California prison system, are they extorted? And the answer to that question, honestly, is yeah, sometimes. And in my opinion, right, it's more like on a case-by-case, prison-by-prison basis, you know. By me not necessarily being in that type of field, you know, I may have not heard about it as often as it happened, right? But it definitely does happen. And like I said earlier, it just all depends on that person, right? I've ran across people from New York, from Philadelphia, Louisiana, Chicago, Memphis, and they didn't gang bang, but they kicked it with that crowd and they was accepted. They got along fine, as well as people from California who didn't gang bang, you know. And it all depends on how you carry yourself, right? One thing about prison, I think people fail to realize is prison is a predatory place, you know, and it's a hands-on environment, meaning that, you know, if you're unwilling to do what you have to do at times, meaning get physical and fight, then you're going to be in a world of trouble. You know, a lot of people is not going to have any type of mercy and sympathy for you in prison. Sometimes when I tell certain stories, you will hear people say, hey, you know, why didn't nobody stick up for him? You know, why didn't nobody help him? Well, you know, you got people who have the attitude of the person who needed the help wasn't worried about helping people when he was out there on the streets doing what he was doing. You know, how did that dude get here? How did he get here? You know, what did he do to come up in here? And so with that, you know, with that type of mentality, sometimes in prison, it's a man eat man. It's a dog eat dog situation. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you unwilling to stand up for yourself. And so a lot of times it all depends on if you gonna go for the okie doke or not. You know, like I said, man, prison, they have people in prison who make it their business to prey on people, and that's how they survive. You have people in prison doing extremely bad. You know, you're not fed well in prison. The food is not great, and so if you don't have any outside help, you have to make what work for you work. You know what I'm saying? And then also you have people in prison that's doing extremely good, and some of them got to that point by preying on other people. So, you know, it's the mentality that comes with prison, you know. And so you may be sitting there playing chess with a person, you know. I mean, extortion comes in all different forms as well. You may be playing chess with a person, you may be gambling, and that's one thing that tends to get a lot of people in trouble, gambling, you know, running up debts that they can't pay. You know, if you don't have the money in the sale, then you really shouldn't be gambling. But a lot of people can't stop themselves, you know, and so you may be playing chess for maybe $20 a game. You find yourself down $200. You don't have it in the sale. You tell a person, okay, well, you know, I'm gonna have my family send the money to you. The person may give you a certain time to pay. Said, okay, well, the money has to be here in 2 weeks. If that money don't arrive, some people will now want to double it. Instead of now the 200, you owe me 400, and that's throwing a hook to you right then and there. If you tend to go for that right then and there, then they may feel, okay, you know, I got one, and I can extort this dude further, you know, for further money in further situations and stuff like that. So it's all about just what you're willing to go for, you know. And some people will say, well, hey, man, why didn't that dude, you know, stand up and stab him? Or why didn't that dude become violent? And once again, if you're non-affiliated in prison, then you are less likely to have the backing that the other dude who's trying to extort you has, you know. And sometimes that does play a factor into it, you know. In my experience and what I've seen, when people do get extorted, or we call it press, you know, or you squeezing the dude, you pressing him for some money, you squeezing him for some bread, you know, a lot of times it's really just one person, you know, then one person has discovered that this dude is kind of weak and I can work this dude out of some money. Sometimes it is a you know, a situation that involves more than one person. But then, of course, you know, when it involves more than one person, then all that's extorted from that person has to be split among several people, right? So you had individuals, like I said, who made it their business to, you know, to try to seek out those they considered weak, those that they considered, you know, that would go for this type of thing. It reminds me of a celly I had by the name of Simon. I told a story about it. The name of the story was called "He Snitched on Me," or "He Told on Me Right in My Face." Now, Simon didn't have much, and it was a particular blood that was in the building. And so every time we would have chicken, the blood would come over there and get some chicken from Simon. And so one day I heard him talking real crazy to Simon because Simon didn't bring him no chicken. And so initially I thought that the blood was buying the chicken from Simon, because you have people who work in the kitchen who can bring out extra stuff and they sell it. But Simon went on to tell me that no, that he just looks out for the dude, just being generous. And I guess dude had basically felt entitled that he got something free. And also I noticed every time that Simon went to the store, he would give this dude a pouch of tobacco. Now, Simon lived off his kitchen paycheck, which was only about $13, $14 a month. So to be giving somebody $2 from that for free was a whole lot, you know, considering you're giving it to him every month. But you can best believe that if Simon had more money, that dude definitely would have been extorting him for more money, you know. It just all depends. You know, I told a story too also about a homie of mine, and the name of that story was Scandalous D. And so long story short, you know, Scandalous D had developed a habit, but to this day, I still don't know if he was messing with weed or drugs or whatever. And so he was running around owing different gangs and stuff. So once it was brought to our attention, we went and got at the other gangs basically and told them, hey, listen, man, did this dude owe you any money? You know, the dude paid his debts, but we're not supposed to pay no more of his debts. So don't give this dude nothing on credit because we're not paying his debts or whatever like that, right? And so D is steady saying that he stopped, you know, getting credit from people. So come to find out, he's still getting credit from people and doing things that he shouldn't do. And he had even worked me out of $100 cash. You know, I loaned him $100 cash. Well, actually, I gave him $100 cash. He was supposed to be going to buy some tobacco. He claimed he lost the money. Later on, I found out all that was a lie. And so, long story short, you know, it came to our attention that he was still owing people. So we pushed up into well, actually, we went and got at him, told him to come up to this other cell. We had to discipline him, which he already knew, you know. And so the second that he walked into the cell, bing, bing, boop, bop, bing, boop, bop, bop, bing, boop, we put them hammers on him, you know. Hold on, the alarm was going off. Yeah, we went in there and put them hammers on him, beat him up, you know what I'm saying. And so when he was trying to leave the building, he was knotted all up, bleeding. The guards seen him, and they took him to the hole. To his credit, he didn't tell, right? But so after all that happened, another gang pushed up on us, saying, hey, that this dude that D had still owed them like $200 or $300 for some tobacco. So we automatically told him, hey, man, you know, we're not giving you no bread. And it almost led to a riot, you know. Come to find out later that D had some pills coming in through the visit. He had gave to somebody else to bring the pills in. So the dude told me about that. So I told the dude, okay, from the other gang, hey, listen, man, when these dudes' pills come in, I'll sell his stuff to pay D's debt. And that's how it went. That's how it went. But also, I failed to mention that for a certain amount of time, they was extorting D. D would get cigarettes or weed or whatever he was getting from him. They wanted him to send the money to them through Western Union. They would give him a couple of days or whatever. His girlfriend would send the money, but they was telling him that the money would not arrive. So at that time we had cell phones. So he showed me where his girlfriend had sent him a screenshot of the Western Union receipt where they had picked the money up at a certain time. The person who they had asked him to send it to had got the money, but yet and still they were still claiming they had not got the money, and they had been doubling D up, and D was continuing to pay the double up fees, even though he had proof that the money had arrived, you know. And so once again, you know, even now D was a homie. He ran with the IE car. He was from the Inland Empire. The Inland Empire is geographically, it's the county of San Bernardino and the county of Riverside. And all those cities within those two counties make up the Inland Empire. And those who choose, whether gang affiliated or not, run with the IE car. And so D wasn't a gang member, but he ran with the IE car. But yet and still, those dudes had no problems with pressing D because they found out that he was softer than King's Hawaiian bread, and they were squeezing him for every dollar that he could get. And so once again, some people may ask, well, why didn't he go pick up a knife? Why didn't he handle his business? And like I said, the reality of prison is a hands-on environment. You have to stand up for yourself most of the time before anybody else is going to stand up for you. And D didn't want to pick up a knife. He didn't want to do anything that could possibly get him more time. At some point in time, I don't know exactly when, what they started doing in prison is, if you got caught with drugs, if you stabbed somebody, you got caught with a knife, even if you beat somebody up too violently, the prison would write you up, give you a 115. Then they would also give you what's known as a DA referral, which means they would send that information about whatever you had got caught up in to the DA of whatever county that prison happened to be located in. The DA would read it, then look over it and decide whether he wanted to press charges against you criminally. If he happened to press charges against you criminally, then you had a pending charge in that particular county. So when it was time for you to go to court, the prison bus would come get you, the prison van, and take you to court, and you would be going back and forth to court as if you had committed a crime on the street. And then you would be given more time if they found you guilty. And I've seen several dudes come to prison and turn 3, 4 years, 6, 7 years into a life sentence. And to be honest, that catching more time is something that deters a lot of people. But in my opinion, when you come to prison, it's sad, but it's true. You have to do what you have to do. You have to worry about all that before you come to prison, because you never know what situation you're going to get caught up in. And another thing about prison is people are always watching. People are always watching. And anytime they get the slightest inclination that you soft, they can bust a move on you, they can press you, they can squeeze you. It's going to be somebody that can do it. I remember when I first got to the county jail, I was in there with a next door neighbor of mine who was a few years older, and he had been to the pen a couple of times. And he told me, hey, chill, man. Stop horseplaying so much, right? I used to horseplay with a big old giant dude by the name of Dan Tanner. I did a story about him that's called The Biggest Crip I Ever Seen. And he said, chill, the thing is, you're horseplaying, you playing with him, and other people may think that they can play with him like that, and they can play with you like that. And it's, you guys are tight, but everybody is going to see that and think that they can do the same. And then it may potentially lead to a problem. And that's something that I learned in prison. People are always watching. So you may have a good buddy. You guys may have been knowing each other for years and years. He put his finger in your face during the middle of a basketball game and tell you, hey, man, pass the damn ball when you see me open. Everybody may not know that this is your good friend. And so in the mind of somebody, this dude is soft. So maybe a week later, you playing basketball with that dude that's witnessed this. Now he thinks that he can get at you and talk to you crazy. And now there goes the situation. But like I said, we have to worry about all these things before we go to prison, because if you worried about fighting, you worried about being jumped, once word gets around, every prison you go to, you're going to have a problem. So it's best to stand up for yourself and do what you have to do right then and there than to continue having this problem and this reputation follow you. Because even long before California had cell phones, word travels. For instance, if you beat up somebody or you stab somebody at Salinas Valley, or at one prison, when you got transferred to another prison, maybe 7 months down the line, maybe 3, 4 years down the line, you can best believe that it's going to be a few people at that prison you just came to that was at the other prison. And if they saw you smash somebody, they going to let their homies know that dude ain't to be played with. If they saw you get punked or knocked out or whatever, word is going to get around. So it's always best to handle your business. And so the long answer to that question is, yes, people sometimes do get extorted, and sometimes no. It just all depends. I've seen dudes who don't gangbang, who did their time and nobody bothered them. So it's like I said, it's really a personal and a case-by-case basis, man. But anyway, you already know what it is. It's your boy 16 to Life. Resume normal program.